Today on China View, we talk to a medical student who was sentenced to death on Tuesday for murdering his roommate using lab poison.
A promising postgrad at a top-ranking university
is sentenced to death whether or not his parents would forgive me.
This is Lin Senhao, a student at Fudan University who killed his roommate last year in an April Fool's Day prank gone wrong.
You said I knew it was poisonous, but I think I didn't necessarily know.
His crime, as well as his motive for committing it, have caused a stir in China over the last year.
I had no troubles with Huang.
A Shanghai court issued its verdict on Tuesday, convicting Lin of intentional homicide. Lin's father said the death penalty was too harsh and added that an appeal would be lodged.
I read some literary works while I was in detention. I read a lot of science books in the past, but few works of literature. Sometimes I feel I'm too straightforward, and I should think about things in another way, so I read literature. I sometimes tend to do things and neglect the possible consequences. I am inconsiderate about other people's feelings. I'm quick-tempered and outspoken.
Previously, Lin denied being on bad terms with Huang, whom he described as smart but conceited. He claimed the poisoning was a spur-of-the-moment act that he committed after hearing Huang talk about April Fool's Day last year. The substance Lin used to poison Huang was N-nitrosodimethylamine, a deadly chemical compound he often used in the lab. He used the compound to contaminate a water dispenser in their dormitory on March 31, 2013.
I know that 50 milligrams of the compound for every kilogram of body weight can damage the liver, but I am not clear on how much I put in that day.
Huang died of organ failure days after he drank from the dispenser on April 1st. Doctors couldn't initially determine what was causing Huang's symptoms until an anonymous text message suggested poisoning.
I was flustered when I found out he'd been sent to hospital. I was waiting for them to come and ask me about this. His dad came to our dorm on the night of April the 3rd, but said nothing. I didn't visit Huang until April the 4th, when I went to see him in the ICU. By then, I'd lost my head and my courage.
Although Lin claimed things were fine between him and Huang, he did have some harsh words for one of his other roommates.
I was sleeping in bed, and one of my roommates was rubbing his foot like this while playing video games. It made a lot of noise. I asked him to stop rubbing his foot, but he claimed he wasn't rubbing it in the first place. That made me angry. I wanted a target to vent my anger towards.
Huang didn't know that he would become Lin's victim.
Huang came back as usual with a beaming smile. He said April Fool's Day was approaching and talked about planning some pranks. He looked so satisfied. What a disgusting guy. Let me give you a prank instead.
Lin's classmates testified at the trial on November 27th, describing Lin as an introverted man prone to bearing grudges. They added that Lin and Huang had previously argued over a few trivial matters.
My grades were good, so maybe I became a bit self-centered. I felt alone and may have been a bit conceited.
However, Lin also said that he hopes to learn something from the situation.
Now I am thinking that I need to learn something. That is the bottom line in your mind, your way of doing things. Unless you have learned it when you are brought up by a family, it's hard to learn when you come of age. My parents are good people, but they are rural people and maybe a bit backwards in their thinking.